If you're confused about how to tune the saxophone, you are not alone, my friend. It can be very complicated, very hard, but there's one simple thing you can do right away, and that is adjusting the mouthpiece on the cork. So you want to actually adjust the mouthpiece position to tune the sax. So if I keep the mouthpiece out like this is making the tube longer on the saxophone, and when the tube is longer, it's going to be more flat. So let's have a listen to the note G with the mouthpiece right out like this. Now when I push it in and put it near the end of the cork, it's going to sound more sharp. So just adjusting the mouthpiece is going to help you to tune the saxophone. So let's try again. This time I'm going to pull the mouthpiece out and I'm going to play it and push it in on the sax. Okay, so it's almost like a slide whistle or a trombone. The pitch changes depending on the length of the tube, and just having the mouthpiece at a different position on the top of the sax will either lengthen or shorten the tube of the saxophone. Now, I don't recommend trying to play the mouthpiece and pushing it in. It can be dangerous, especially if you pull out the mouthpiece, you might end up hitting your mouth and hurting yourself. I just wanted to show you as a demonstration how much just changing the mouthpiece affects the tuning on the saxophone. So where do you start when it comes to trying to figure out how to get the right position of the mouthpiece on the neck? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. But before I get into it, my name is Alexander Mathias from saxophonemmasterclass.com, and you're in the right place if you're a beginner trying to learn this beautiful instrument and want to learn your favorite songs on the saxophone. And if you want to learn even more about my system, about how I teach the sax, you should check out my free Saxophone Mastery Secrets webinar. There's a link below, or you can just go to saxophonemmasterclass.com/secrets, and you're going to get an hour-long free webinar on how to learn and master your favorite songs, how to start figuring out all the fingerings, how to start producing a great tone on a saxophone. It's all inside that webinar and it's completely free. So go and check it out. There's a link below in the description. So when you're trying to figure out where the best place to position your mouthpiece on the sax, you want to start with the note G. And G is just those three fingers in the left hand. So you want to get a tuner first of all. And I have one here on my smartphone. You can get one too. Just search for any tuner app. You can get them completely free. This one's called INS Tuner, and it comes up green when you play in tune. Okay, so I'm going to play the note G, and it's going to come up green on the tuner. Now you'll notice that it says B flat, not G, because the saxophone is a transposing instrument. So when I play a G on the sax, it comes up as a B flat concert. So this is really important to understand. It can be really confusing. Again, I taught more about that in the Saxophone Mastery Secrets webinar, so go and check it out. But basically, whatever note you play on the alto sax is going to be a minor third away on the tuner. So a G is going to sound like a B flat, an F is going to sound like an A flat, an F sharp is going to sound like an A, and this is really important to keep in mind. I do have a free transposition cheat sheet that you can download at saxophonemasterclass.com/transposition. There's also a link below the video, and that's going to help you transpose for alto, tenor, soprano, and baritone saxophone, so you know when you play a G on any of those saxophones, what's going to come up on your tuner. So the goal here is to start on the note G and try to get it in tune on that note. So if I had the mouthpiece out further like this, it wouldn't come up in tune, it would be flat. Let's have a look. Okay, so that is flat, and we want to make sure that it's sharper. So to make it sharper, we push the mouthpiece in, and you just keep adjusting and pushing in very slightly until it starts to be in tune. So let's try it one more time. Okay, still flat. We're going to keep pushing it in. Just a little bit flat. Push it in a little bit more. Says got it. You got it, right? So that's what we want to do, is adjust your mouthpiece ever so slightly to make sure that we're matching up with the tuner. And this is the number one most effective way to tune your saxophone. Now, what happens is it can start to go out of tune as you go lower and as you go higher on the saxophone. And this has a lot to do now with you and your breath support and the way you position your embouchure and your voicing, which is how you manipulate your throat in order to tune the notes. So actually, I can tune the saxophone with my throat. I can play a G with the octave key, and I can actually manipulate this to a flatter note if I wanted to. I can actually bend the note using my throat. I'm not dropping my jaw, I'm not moving around my mouth, I'm just manipulating my throat. And so this is where it gets a little complicated. You actually need to adjust your voicing, your vocal cords, as you go higher on the instrument and as you go lower on the instrument. You have to start thinking about adjusting your vocal cords to make sure you can keep everything in tune. And that's just one way of keeping in tune across the whole range of the sax. You actually want to adjust your embouchure as well to make sure you're able to get those higher notes with a big full tone, get those lower notes with ease. There's all these different things that you got to think about when you're trying to keep the saxophone in tune. And so there's a lot of things to think about as you're getting higher and as you're getting lower, which I'm not going to get into in this lesson. If you want to learn more about how to get low notes, how to get high notes on the sax, again, go ahead and check out my free Saxophone Mastery Secrets webinar. There's a link below in the description, or just go to saxophonemasterclass.com/secrets. But the first step is to simply keep in tune in the middle range of the sax. That means anywhere from G up to G with the octave key. So a perfect scale to practice is just the G major scale. And if you can focus in on long tones on each of those notes, try to get them all in tune in that middle range. That is a great place to start. And then once you've got that down, once you've figured out how to stay in tune in that middle range, you can work on all the different techniques for getting in tune in the low notes and getting in tune in the high notes, which is way beyond just keeping your mouthpiece in the right place. It's a lot more difficult. You got to think about your breath support. You got to think about your embouchure. You got to think about how you're voicing the notes using your throat. This is all part of my BET saxophone tone system. And if you do want to learn more about all that, I actually do have another lesson right here that you can check out next. But that is the main way to tune your saxophone, just using the mouthpiece on the cork. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. And until next time, my friend, have a great day, have a great week, and happy playing.